how to figure out when the terrain, a mountain, a hill, will block the view of the moon when you're planning your moonshot. Hello, PhotoPiller, Rafael the Bar here. Let's imagine that you want to photograph the full moon with the 5 towers of Madrid, Spain. Now, let's imagine that you don't know the area and that you use PhotoPills to plan a cool full moon shot with the 5 towers of Madrid. According to your plan, if on August 12, 2022 at 10:10 p.m. you are at the red pin position, you'll be able to photograph the full moon aligned with the 5 towers of Madrid. Also, the moon will have a size, if you go to panel number 2, the moon will have a size, you have the size of the moon in brackets, of 146.2 meters. And the height of the center of the moon will be 82.2 meters. Always according to the panel number 2 here in PhotoPills. So you'll be able to photograph a pretty huge moon with the towers. So if you consider that the tallest tower is 250 meters tall, then having a full moon of 146 meters is pretty huge. So you'll capture a pretty huge moon right in the middle of the towers. The plan looks promising. Also, according to the top panel, the distance between the black pin, your subject, your towers, and the red pin, your shooting spot, is 15.3 kilometers. Now the question is, will the terrain, a hill or a mountain between the black pin and the red pin block the view of the moon? Is this shot even possible? Let's figure out. Of course, I always recommend you guys to go in the field and scout the locations to make sure that you have a clean view of your subject from your desired shooting spot, and that for that shooting spot you can also see the sky behind your subject, so you can make sure that the moon will be visible behind or above your subject. But if you can go out and scout, this is how you can figure it out from home. Thanks to the top panel, you know that the size of the moon is 146.2 meters, more or less 150 meters, so the radius is more or less 75 meters. And these 75 meters are key, because what you want is that the height of the center of the moon, according to the top panel, to be above or at least 75 meters. This is where you'll be able to see the whole moon. So all you have to do is to move the black pin along the azimuth line of the moon and read the top, on the top panel, the moon height above the black pin. So yeah, I'll do it. For example, I place it here. Now the moon height is 95.5 meters, so I still see the whole moon. Remember, the radius of the moon is 75 meters, so it's good. It seems that here we have a mountain, so well, it's going up, not bad, going down a little bit. See 91 meters now, and 40 meters here. The height of the center of the moon now is at only 40.6 meters. Pretty low in the sky, and actually, because the radius of the moon is 75 meters, which is larger than 40 meters, it means that I won't be able to see the whole moon. Part of the moon will be hidden by the terrain. So all I have to do is to keep moving the black pin. Wow, now the moon height is minus 5.8 meters. This means that the center of the moon is below the terrain, so you only can see half of the moon. Obviously, from the red pin position, I have a hill in front of me that doesn't allow me to see the whole moon with the towers. So I know that the shooting spot is not very good for this specific date and for this specific shot with the towers, because I have this hill in front of me. You know, using the black pin allows me to find these hills that can block the view of the moon and my subject. So in this situation, the shot is not possible from the shooting spot because of this hill, so I'll have to look for another different shooting spot. You need to iterate until you find a spot that there is nothing blocking the view of the moon and your subject. After a few iterations, I found this cool shooting spot here, located in the lookout of Valdemoro, and from this location I can clearly see my towers and my moon. The other thing is that the shot from this shooting spot is a bit different. Now what I can capture is the moon above or next to, actually is above one of the towers. You see at the top, the moon will be pretty close to one of the main towers. The size of the moon will be 59.8 2 meters. It's smaller but big enough for me. And the moon height is 250 meters. So the center of the moon will be at the same height as the highest tower of the 5 towers. I think it's a pretty cool shot too. I mean, you need to work out for a given date. You know where the moon is rising, so you need to work out and find the best shot possible with the elements. And the elements are the position of the moon that's given, and also the position of your subject. And as you see here, nothing is blocking the view of the moon. The height of the center of the moon above the towers is pretty high at all times, so I don't have to worry about the terrain. And of course, you know, the day of the shooting, go there and make sure that nothing is blocking your view. A tree, a cable, you need to go and scout the location for sure, at least a few hours before the shot, so you can fine-tune and adjust your composition or your shooting spot in the field. Now, am I done with the planning? The answer is no. Why? Because I need to make sure that there is nothing behind my subject that can block the view of the moon. You know, it can be a faraway mountain that can be blocking the view of the moon. So I need to do the same thing. I need to place the flat pin along the line of the moon, the azimuth line of the moon, to make sure that nothing will block the moon. So here I'm moving from this spot. You see that the moon height is 400 meters, so huge, very high, 700 meters, so I'm safe. I'm very safe. The moon is very high in the sky, 960 meters, so yeah, the moon is super high in the sky. I'll go further away, 1.5 kilometers. I think nobody's blocking the moon. No, nobody's blocking the moon here for sure. 3.4 kilometers. So yeah, I think that this is my shot. Nothing is blocking the moon in front of my subject, and nothing is blocking the moon behind of my subject. Where is my subject? He's here. Have you seen how I work? I always move the flat pin along the azimuth line of the moon, and with an eye on the top panel, on the height of the moon, or the center of the moon. Make sure that that height is higher than the radius of the moon. The radius of the moon at the flat pin position. You know, in this case, the size of the moon I need to take into account is almost 60 meters or 30 meters. So I need to make sure that the height of the center of the moon, according to the top panel, is above 30 meters, the radius. The size of the moon I'm getting with the towers. One tip here is to change the map. Use the terrain map to visualize the topography, the terrain in a better way. So tap on the map settings button next to the plus, and here tap on map type, and for example choose the Google terrain map type. And as you'll see, go back to the map, you have a better understanding, better view where the mountains are. See that the mountains are represented in kind of a green color, so you can really visualize the mountains, the hills, anything that can be blocking your view. For example, let's check this one here. The height of the moon is 2.4 kilometers, so this mountain here is not high enough, and that one not high enough, 4.1 kilometers. Means that the center of the moon is 4.1 kilometers above the height, above the terrain at the black pin spot. So yeah, definitely I'm super safe with my plan. Change map type and get a better understanding of the terrain, topography, the mountain ranges. Now you wish to learn how to photograph the moon, you can do two things. First, watch this video where I explain you how to photograph the moon step by step. And second, I invite you to download our moon photography guide. I'm gonna leave a link in the description of this video and in the first comment below. Check it out. Also, if you have any questions on moon planning or moon photography in general, leave a comment below. I'm here to help. And as always, if you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next Wednesday in another video. And remember that you have the power to imagine, plan, and shoot legendary photos. Bye bye.